Shrikant, can you stand up? If you remember, those who have been coming to Pinnacle, we used to have paper printouts for our brochures. And Shrikant this time wrote to me and said, why are we cutting down so many trees? Can we go paperless? So, as last night, Hazura Singh mentioned, he said, Shrikant reduced the work of the paper, but it increased my work because Hazura Singh had to come up with a website, right? So, what we will do if you didn't get it yet, at the end of today, tomorrow I will be sending you, those who participated, I'll be sending you a survey. There'll be a deadline. All those who respond to the deadline within the deadline will be eligible for a raffle for $100 Amazon gift card. Okay? So you can see we really love your surveys. Okay? So with that, at each of the IAM conferences, and we have 13 chapters, right? And we have 9 conferences every year in various parts of the country. In every chapter, I share a thought that kind of either I learn from you guys or something that I see happening. So for today, okay, how do I go down? Should be page down, right? Just scroll down? Okay. There you go. The concept that's being bandied around is impact investing. How many of you have heard of impact investing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. What's impact investing? It's essentially saying we want to invest not just for financial returns, but essentially helping companies do well by doing good. In other words, it's no longer just philanthropy, it is saying it makes business sense to invest. And business sense to invest in commercial organizations. So there are some estimates, I think JP Morgan provided an estimate. The capital that will be available in this asset class for impact investing will be close to $1 trillion by the time of 2021. So it's going to be a big, big area. The problem is, A, there are not enough projects to invest in. B, the capital is not focused across the entire spectrum, the risk and return spectrum, right? And C, how do you measure? We're so used to measuring dollars and cents. How do you measure impact investing? If I've invested in a company, what is my ROI? It's not the traditional way you do that, right? So let me give you an example. So these are some areas. Think about water leaks. I was astounded to see that 18 billion gallons of treated water are lost every day to the tune of $3 billion across the US through what? Leaks in our taps. Or people illegitimately getting water, unmetered water. What's the impact of that? Companies have to pay more money. The rates go up, okay? So it impacts the bottom line of companies. Cities end up losing businesses because it's becoming more expensive to do business, and they also end up losing revenue, even though the rates are going up. Or think about food waste. I was astounded to see that $165 billion of food is wasted in the US every year. I mean, that was an astounding number. And so, what does that mean? That means that in this colossal waste, what's the cost of this waste? And look at the ways the waste is happening. Farmers are losing $140 million a year because they don't have people to harvest the crop. Or restaurants are wasting 4 to 5% food every year. Or supermarkets are losing close to $15 billion of produce every year because it's not being sold. So huge amounts of waste. Obesity. This was a particularly interesting one. We are spending $190 billion in the US alone every year on health reasons. And oh, by the way, airlines are spending $5 billion towards additional jet fuel because they have to fly heavier Americans. And it's kind of mind-boggling, or if you think about the achievement gap. you know, the haves and have-nots in terms of education, you would see that we are losing close to 120 to 160 billion dollars. This was in 2008, the numbers have gotten higher because of the racial gap. So my point is, we have what is now called your environmental P&L. Companies like Puma and so on, they have to issue environmental profit and loss statements, how greenhouse effects and so on. But what's happening is that venture capitalists who want to now invest in socially responsible organizations, not as philanthropists, but as a commercial organization, they're saying these problems are huge. How do we eradicate poverty? How do we make everyone educated and literate? And so they say, will we really be able to move the needle? My small investment, will it really make a difference? The point though is, we have to shift away, and that's what I'm seeing is happening is, we're shifting away from, oh, we must eradicate smallpox by such and such year, we must eradicate poverty by such and such year, which are huge goals. We are now focusing, we are making our objectives more micro. And when we make them more micro, what investors are finding is, then they can see, okay, the dollars I've put in are actually earning a return. So the trend is happening is that the objectives are becoming more micro. There are more investors that are focusing on helping companies do well by doing good. And also, there are models out there where you can actually calculate the return on your impact investing. The trend is also moving away from small businesses like startups and so on to ways, how can we invest in bigger companies, more mature companies who can make a difference. So impact investing is the next big thing. It is still very dormant. I know all the consulting firms have impact investing on sustainable business solution arms, but for those of you in the audience who are investors, if you have not thought about it, I saw many hands go up, so maybe some of you are thinking of impact investing, but this is something to think about. And that's all I have to say. So with that, enjoy the conference, network. If your phones are on, and I'm sure they're on vibrate, please tweet, post on Facebook, please post on LinkedIn. And we have a fun day's event today. We have wonderful speakers. Again, I want to thank our sponsors. Saurabh, we have you stand up, please? Saurabh is an IIM Bangalore alum, and he was responsible for bringing us the Bank of the West sponsorship. So thank you very much, Saurabh. And I want all the Googlers to stand up. The Googlers? Thank you very much. Let's give them a big hand. And with that, let me hand you back over to the MCs.